We are moving on to wing number 2. We have 6 bosses to go, friends. 6 bosses. How long have I spent so far? Well, only about an hour. That's not bad. Okay, so the next wing, I'm going to take you guys over to the Hellfire Council. Now, of course, every good, raid tier needs a council fight. This is ours, Hellfire Council. For those of you that remember doing Gorefiend, Blood Boil... Loganis, were you around with us during Gorefiend? I can't remember. I don't think so. I think you came after? I don't know. Maybe not. What do you think about having a set point and pushing all empowered runes to a set location? Say orange in your video. Yeah, and I think we're just going to do green. Oh, no, you meant runes. Yeah, I think we should do that. We'll give it a shot anyway. Dead man. So, this is the council fight. Each one has different abilities. They all have a specific sub 30% phase. Sort of like Iron Maidens. So, do you want to push one of them at a time? No. Well, you do, yes. Excuse me. But you want to be careful with which ones you push. So I'm going to walk myself over to Hellfire now. 13 bosses, probably just finished 3. Well, no, I mean just for tonight, Roshi. I'm just going through 9 bosses tonight. The other next Coach's Corner, I'm going to go through the last ones because I can't do a 5-hour Coach's Corner. So, Gorefiend Blood Boil. For those of you that remember Gorefiend Blood Boil, he throws Blood Boil. Back in BC, it would be a stacking debuff. This one does not stack, which is fine. It hits the 5 furthest people with a Blood Boil. So who is ideal for hitting with Blood Boil? Your ranged DPS, your Huntards, your Shadow Priest, people that have damage mitigating cooldowns. It does, every few seconds, I think it's every 5 or so seconds, it does a new Blood Boil. You know exactly who to heal. Put people in one group, those 5 people, it'll always hit them, you know who to heal. Oh, I'm running the wrong direction, sorry. This is Kilrogg. I skipped a room. He has a tank debuff here, which you would stack, or tank swap. Deadman, can you tell us again how many stacks you switch at? Was it 2 or 3 stacks? I can't recall how many you guys did on PTR. Excuse me. So he has a tank debuff that you would switch with your other tank. He has a Fell Rage ability, very similar to what he had in Burning Crusade. He'll get really big, he'll do massive damage to you. He does stacking damage. So the longer he's fixated on you, the more damage he does. Which means you may need to use cooldowns, personal cooldowns, near the end of his Fell Rage. Okay? Each successful melee attack will cause him to increase 10%, more damage, throughout. So, if you're big, or if he gets big and he fixated on you, don't run around like a headless chicken. I guess you could. Some strats may call for that. Not a normal heroic. It'll be fine without it. Navigate, yeah. No, it won't be that bad, because this will be locked off Shell Stars. So Shell Stars had a question of, what if you get lost? I'm a woman, I don't know where to go. Well, it'll be locked off, there'll only be one path to go. This is a multi-winged instance, though, so you'll be able to go whichever way you want. You'll learn, though. You'll learn very quickly. The tank swap lines up with the Fell Rage happens. Perfect. That's fantastic. Okay, this is Demolishing Leap as well. He jumps up. This was much of a non-issue for us when we did it with the guild. When I did it with the viewers, it was more of an issue because he was leaping all around. One thing you do want to do here is cleave the bosses where possible. That's not always the case, though. You can't cleave all of the bosses together, and I'll explain why. And now, Goretog's big ability is called his Final Hour. At 30%, he's going to give you a stacking debuff. That stacking debuff gets harder and harder and harder, and it will stay the entire encounter. Once Goretog Blood Boil pushes down to 30%, he drops the raid's HP by 10% every time it applies. That is crazy important. This right here. When you push Goretog Blood Boil to 30%, he does his Final Hour ability. Use Heroism here, your potions, your cooldowns, because you do not want more than 3 stacks of this ability. That is a ton of HP lost. Okay? Blade Master Jubitos, Blade Master dude, he's fairly simple. He throws swords in one direction. He has a big arrow. Blizzard did a great job with a lot of these bosses. There's a big friggin' arrow where the bad ability is going to come from. If I'm standing this way, the big sword's going to get thrown this way. Don't be in its path. Really simple to dodge. He has a Fell Storm, which does constant raid-wide damage. Even though it's like a circular pattern like this around him, it does raid-wide damage the entire time, so use a personal cooldown. Very simple. It's fire damage. You can use your Divine Protection as a Paladin. Easy enough to dodge. Not dodge, rather. Mitigate. And then he does his Wind Walk. Now, the Wind Walk, he spawns multiple copies of himself that are doing the exact same thing, throwing swords around. If he does a Wind Walk and have these mirror images, These mirror images do damage as well. They are the highest priority target. You must DPS them down before he re-emerges to himself. Otherwise, you have a bunch of flying swords everywhere, and it's very difficult to dodge, and people are not DPSing because they're moving around so much. Minimize movement, maximize damage. And then for his final hour ability, he will do raid-wide, or half raid-wide damage to the entire raid while he's sub 30. So at 30%, he will do, let's say, if you have a raid of 20 people, 10 people will get hit by fire damage every, let's say, 5 seconds. That phase, it gets harder, like it does more and more damage as the phase goes on. After he dies, he will continue striking people. He will continue doing that. It's not a terrible ability, but it does do quite a bit of damage. And now the other council person is Dia Dark Whisper. She has Void Bolts here. That is the main, I mean, it's magic damage. Which tanks are great for soaking magic damage? There's your answer for who's going to tank that one. It does Void Bolt here, which was interruptible, I believe, on PTR. She has Void Haze. Now, this is really important. This is why you can't cleave all three together. Anytime that any of the other ones are near her, they are immune to damage. They take no damage. So if I wanted to tank, you know, Dia here, which is purple, and Jubathos over here, green, and Blood Bowl, which is red, they'll take no damage because they're all getting absorbed. So what you want to do is you want to tank, let's say, Dia over here, and you want to tank the other two dudes right next to each other. Sorry. The other two dudes right here. That's not a red marker. There. Okay, so you have Jubathos right here, you have Gurtog being cleaved, you have a set of DPS on this chick as well, that's fine. And just do have interrupts as well on Dia. Just constant interrupts because you want to interrupt the Void Bolts as much as possible. Nightmare Visage here, she does a ton of, you know, tank damage. Again, there's a tank swap, you'll be fine with it. She has a Mark of the Necromancer. Now, there is some dispellable abilities here. This one is more for healers, and this is important for all raiders to know, not just healers. DPS, this includes you, you dumb little bastards. If Mark of the Necromancer is on you, you need to be aware. What's going to happen is, the longer the Mark of the Necromancer is on you, the more damage it does. For those of you that remember Sinestra, same ability, exact same ability, except it splits off every time it gets dispelled. So if you dispel, you know, it right away, every single time, it's going to spread until your entire raid is covered with it, and it can't jump to anybody else, and your raid's going to die. So as a healer, you need to watch out for how many stacks are of this debuff. I don't think it was stacks; it was just constant ramping up damage. I found it that around 60,000 damage every 2 seconds was enough, and then we would have to dispel it. I think it was 60,000. Roshi, maybe? Can't remember. He was dispelling with myself. Now, the other thing, and this is why it's important for you DPS people, Reap. Reap, wherever, when she does her Reap, you have a few seconds. Anybody that has a Mark of Necromancer will spawn a rune under them. Where should you spawn these runes? Those of you on stream here, where should you spawn these runes? Well, where is it, like, a really good spot that's not in the way? Right here. If Reap is on me and I have Mark of the Necromancer, well, Reap is on everybody with Mark. You run your runes over here, drop off your runes, and then run back to the raid. It's a drop-off ability. Your DBM, if it's updated, or your Bigwigs, or your VEM, will have a big pop-up over your screen, Reap on me. It'll say, run away, little girl. You run away. Off to the corner here. You go sit in the corner, drop off your Reap, and run back to the raid. Easy to deal with. As long... Not in the middle... Dexter, swear to God. Not in the middle of the room. Oberlin, thanks for resubbing. Sorry. So that's the Reap ability. You guys need to know that one. That's important for the DPS, the healers, everybody to know. Healers need to be aware of Mark of Necromancer and how much damage is being taken. Track it on your raid frames. She does Wailing Horror. Now this is on Nixia Deep Breath style ability. This one sucks. This one does a lot of damage. I found it fairly difficult to dodge for the most part. She turns the entire room purple. She clears all the debuffs. Okay, so for those of you wondering, like, well, you know, as the fight goes on, I'm going to run out of people for the Mark of Necromancer. No, she clears it during her Wailing Horror phase. She makes the entire room all purple, and there'll be these big purple ghosts flying from one side of the room, from blue, let's say, to purple. Anybody in the way of them takes a ton of damage. You do see them spawn. Think of this as a survival phase, not a DPS phase. Dodge, dodge, dodge on Nyx's big, stupid deep breath. And then the last ability for her is her final hour. When she hits 30%, she will mark half the raid with that Mark of the Necromancer. She no longer does Reap here, so it's massive healing damage to contend with. In addition, your raid's HP is also going to be lowered because of what ability? Well, Gurtogg's Final Hour. Plus, they're taking additional fire damage from Blade Master Jubithos' Final Hour. So, quite a bit to do here. Why is my holy shot green? Because it is on PTR. Okay, so we're going to move on. I want to show you guys the video here from Council. So this was our Council video. And again, I'll take your questions right afterwards. Clickety clack clack clack.
5, 4, 3, 2.
So we have 2 markers down of where the boss is going to get pulled to. Gurtog and Jubithos off to the right side. You see one tank picks them up. Other tank, which is Tally, I believe, here. He picked up, there we go, Dia, and he interrupts her Void Bolt whenever. You can see how I scrolled over. It starts with 2 people initially, that Mark of Necromancer. It's on Ganner and Marksman on my raid right now. And obviously we let it tick, we heal them, we throw hots on them, nice and easy. There's that big sword that comes from Jubithos. Again, it is avoidable. Hunters, please turn off your stupid obnoxious pets. It's difficult to see. For the male, like there's an arrow on the ground, but nobody can see it because your big fat ass pet hippo is there. Okay, listen, we don't need any pet hippos. Give us small pets or something. Here he does his Fellstorm ability. It does raid wide damage. It doesn't do a ton. I think I had my personal cooldown running there. Not a ton of damage.
Somebody dispel.
Fel Rage. Here. This is Gurtog Blood Bowl's Fel Rage, so there's a lot of abilities going on. You'll learn really quickly what to do here. So Fel Rage is on who? Photon. He's going to run over to Photon. At the same time, you see 5 little red bolts coming. Those red bolts are coming to the furthest person in the raid. And we're soaking that with group number 2 here, which is our Hunters and Test Summoner. So Photon, it's on him right now. What can he do to maximize damage? What should Photon do? Photon's getting beat on, right? Like, we have all these bosses. You see Blade Master on the left side here. He's going to throw a sword over there. One thing you can do as raiders, if Fel rages on you, bring it over to Jubithos. This is the tank swap here, right? Like, this is where the tanks are going to be swapping because Fel Rage happens and they can deal with it fairly easily. So they're going to taunt off each other. But if Gurtog is on you, bring it to Jubithos. That way you can continue to cleave. And this makes your DPS happy and not cranky. Because remember, cranky DPS bad. So Photon should have ran him over to Jubithos right now. He's healing himself. It's hitting the fire for this people still. On the right side there you see the Hunters, and because Brando's getting hit there too.
I'm gonna bop you.
Here comes another Fellstorm ability. And here, Ganner's taking a lot of damage, so we're going to dispel him now before he dies. Hopefully.
Nobody? Okay. Next
There,
one,
we dispel Ganner. And now there are 4 debuffs. So 2 of the Mark of the Necromancers now went to 4.
Has to be one of you guys.
I'll get it.
And of course, so this was when Demonology was a little bit buggy. Demonology Warlocks were doing too much damage because they're 4-piece or whatever, and they were spawning many Prince Malchazars. Okay, you see Reap on Deadman. Deadman was using his boss mods. Reap on Midnight. You see Reap on Midnight here. Marksman and Mooney Surge also had it. Check out what happens.
Wailing Horrors next. Reaps out.
Look, this little, shit druid, this little shitkin, he spawned a Reap in the middle of the friggin' raid, like Dexter would have. Right in the middle of the raid. We can't stand there now. Like, that is prime location. That is a prime... Why would you drop it in the raid? Why? So, please have your boss mods running. Please be prepared, when you guys do bosses. And it'll say, Reap, run out. You saw Deadman run it out there to the left side where Gurtog is. You saw the other guy run it off to the side here as well. But Mooney Surge, unfortunately, didn't make his app. Right in the middle there. Now, these are the ghosts. So this is the new phase. So this is her Wailing Horror phase. It doesn't happen very often, but it's a big purple ghost. Big purple ghost that runs across or flies across the room. It does do a lot of damage. It's somewhat hard to see because, again, my camera was down. But you see them spawn, and I'll sort of try to show you guys where they're spawning. There, on the left side. See it spawning next. Coalescing. Again, you just have to dodge as much as you can here. Fellstorm happening. Reaps move away.
Okay, let's swap a second.
Then here they do a tank swap.
5 seconds.
There's the sword being thrown. And the sword goes back, so obviously you don't want to be in his way.
Should we begin?
He's fell raging again. Now you see Dia is really high right now. We just kept her up, alive for a long ass time, and that's fine. In your raids, you may opt to, split DPS a little bit, and that's fine. You may opt to burn down one and then burn down the next. That's okay too. There is no disadvantage really to burning down Gorefiend first and then dealing with the other ones later on. No real thing. Now, remember when I talked about his stacking debuff, that one that reduces your HP? It does stay on for the entire fight. However, that stacking debuff will only keep stacking while he's alive sub 30%. So if you push him sub 30, all DPS immediately switch to Gorefiend. Yeah, you'll have a 20% less thing for the entire fight. But you want to push it when it's necessary. So if you have D up the entire phase or the entire time, you'll deal with her Mark of Necromancers a lot longer. But you'll have less HP throughout the entire fight.
You guys can get on Dia now.
So splitting DPS is advantageous here, your multi-dot classes.
So once it
Here
gets
comes
to
Fire,
50,000,
Fellstorm
yeah,
again.
it's all good.
Here we did some more damage on DS, we did better DPS switch.
Get ready, Reaps. Right now.
Reaps coming. Again, do you guys see any chat bubbles over these people? No, you didn't. It's because they didn't have their boss mods enabled.
What the fuck are you guys doing in the middle of the goddamn raid?
Sparty got a little annoyed there, because, yeah, I get annoyed at things like that. So I'll mute myself there for a sec. Sorry, guys, for the PG. Here's Nightmare Visage again. So here, this is the mirror images from Blade Master Jubithos. You want to kill them. They're their highest priority. What is the deadliest target right now? These things. Because if you don't kill these things, you don't get to kill Blade Master. Now, the HP of them, I believe, is based off of his HP. So if he's at full HP when he does mirror images, they will have more HP. I believe 1.5 million. Whereas if he's at like 40%, which is what he was at, they only have 1 million life. So bring him nice and low. Cleave down. Cleaving, advantageous. So again, you see lots of swords being thrown around. The highest priority right now is killing these stupid little Blade Masters. Don't just let DVM go over the options. Yeah. You want me to go over that, Kuru? I can go over the options as well. They do their own little Fellstorm thing as well, so it is a lot of potential raid damage. If each one of these is Fellstorming, you want to kill them down right away. And once all of them die, Jubithos spawns again. There he is. And there's another Fel Rage. We're cleaning them together.
Yeah, so it's not going to...
Okay, so Gorefiend is now pushed.
Right.
On the right side of my screen here, next to my mini-map, you see a little red debuff. That is one stack of it. One stack. He does a Fel Rage again.
Burn Gorefiend.
Did I call it here for hero here? I can't remember if I did. Yeah, there we use the heroism. We want to burn him down. He had roughly 25-30 million here. There's a Fellstorm happening. It's a lot of damage. So here we now have 2 stacks of Gorefiend. He's still throwing out his little blood bolts. Trying to burn him down as quickly as we can. I think we get to 3 stacks here, maybe. Yeah, 2 stacks is what you want to aim for. You don't want to go to 3 or more. Good, he's down. Now, the debuff does stay on the entire time, which is fine. It's fine, but you only want to have 2 stacks of it, so we have 20% less HP as a raid. Next we're going to be at is Blade Master Jubithos. So we're going to burn him down, and this entire phase he's doing fire damage to half of our raid. So why is spawning the runes in the middle bad? Well, I can't stand on them. When I want to dodge things, when I want to dodge these ghosts, or when I want to dodge swords, I can't run over them because I will take damage. So Reaps, again, run them to the outside. You're the ghost. I got hit by that one. It does quite a bit of damage. You can see one spawning. Yeah, you can see them spawning. There's like a blue-silver glowing thing before they actually spawn and coalesce. Again, it is quite a bit of damage. Use your personals, use some raid cooldowns as well here. But yeah, again, they do quite a bit of damage. I got hit by another one there. I'm going to bring down Blade Master.
Shift a little so it's not, so we can shift with the ghost. Or shift them to the wall.
You can totally dodge them. Just shift
Because
out.
the whole
You see them
melee
coming
just got
towards...
hit.
There, you see that one, I don't know if I got hit by that one. Yeah, and then we're still going to take damage from Jubithos' Ghost.
Leapt out with the
And there, that last 30% burn here. One second, let me go back a couple seconds. I'm going to kill Blade Master. So look at how many marks are out right now. There are 0 marks of the Necromancer on my raid right now.
Shift a little so it's not, so we can shift with the ghost.
We're about to push Dia.
You can totally dodge them. Just shift
Dia
out.
is... There, first 2 marks come out. She's going to push right now. She's going to cast her Mark of Necromancer. Half my raid gets it.
See how Marksman left
There, half my raid now has it. Now this is another burn phase. This is important to have your cooldowns set down for it as well.
Okay, stop.
You can try massive spelling as well. It'll, go to other people. You can see here I'm standing in a reap to show you guys. You do take a lot of damage from the reaps. Oh, never mind. I called it wipe. I called it wipe because we wanted some more practice on it. But that is the yeah. And here I'm going off on my raid because they spawn the runes in the middle of the raid. My bad little apps there. Those apps never made it into the guild, by the way. How do I enable combat logging? Okay, quick little side here. If you go to System and go to Network, Advanced Combat Logging right here, for the person that was asking here. Right here. What class ability is causing the Melkazar to spawn and fight? It's a broken demonology bug off of PTR. It was fixed. Okay, questions. Anything else? Any other questions from that fight? It is a fairly simple fight. What order do you want to go on? Honestly, it's up to you. Other guilds will theorize, what is the best order. I prefer doing Gertog first, then Blade Master, then what's-her-face? Then Dia. I think Dia will be last for the most part. There's reasonings to do any of them in any order. There's enough logic behind it. That being said, I like my order right now. So. Any other questions? No? Fantastic. We're going to move on to the next boss, which is Kilrogg Deadeye. He's the one that drank the blood. He's the one that sort of you horde people and drank the blood there. Do I think Arms of Fear would be a better spec for this fight? I have no clue. I don't follow Warriors. I would ask a Warrior here. Warriors, answer his question. Let him know. Now, Kilrogg Deadeye. This is a fairly fun fight, too, because there is a going into like a different realm phase. And for those of you that are DPS, you're going to love that phase because it ramps up your damage based off how many adds you kill. So, Kilrogg Deadeye. He's got one eye. He has a number of different abilities. There's lots of adds. This fight is another fight where burst classes will do well as Moonkins, of course. But melee will also do fairly well here on this encounter. Now, there's a big pool of crap here. It's a bit more full when the encounter is going on because, there's Ariok and, the guy that you dealt with earlier in the World of Draenor. What is the gray buff? Which gray buff do you mean? Not sure what you mean. I'm not sure what you mean. So, here we have a pool of green stuff. There are different adds that spawn throughout the fight. They're all different priorities. The bloods, little blood globules that spawn, they are not stunnable, they are not slowable. You must burst them down. They cannot reach the boss. That is number one here. Yeah, Blood Bowl has stacks on Mythic, KO, like in the original Black Temple fight. Yeah, you'll have to multiple groups stacking in and out. But anyway, the bloods on this boss, let's say the boss is over here. Bloods will spawn. How? Well, whenever somebody gets by a Heartseeker. Heartseeker, what do you do for that one? Heartseeker is an ability that targets pretty much any player in the raid. I think, again, ranged and healers. I can't remember if it's called it targeted melee. I don't think so. Wherever you get hit, you will bleed. You will bleed your own blood. Yes, Killer makes you bleed your own blood. You get hit by blood splatter. So when he throws the Heartseeker towards you, you'll spawn a pool of blood and a blood globule. That blood globule will then start walking slowly. I get faster than that towards Kilrogg. If it reaches Kilrogg, raid explodes. He heals. That is the most deadly thing in this entire fight. That is your highest priority as a DPS. Now, if a Heartseeker is on me and the boss is at blue, is it a good thing to put it here? Absolutely not. What you want to do is maximize the range to Kilrogg. So some video fights will have it all the way here, where the range will bring it all the way back here, and that is totally fine. Bring it all the way here if you can. Blink it out there, throw up your portals, totally fine. If Kilrogg's over here, you may want to have this entire line here free. Because Heartseeker will hit anybody that is in the way. Think of Impales in Blackhand Phase 3. They pass through everybody, right? Heartseeker is much of the same thing. But for each person that it hits, especially melee, this is important, you will spawn a blood globule. So if you're a melee standing right here, and the person with Heartseeker is all the way over here by yellow, guess what's going to happen? They're going to get hit, you're going to get hit, you both spawn blood globules, but because you spawned a blood globule right here, it hits the boss, you wipe. Done. Super important. Positioning is key. Absolutely key for this entire encounter. You must be spread. And dodge, obviously. There will be a big arrow, big, avoidable, derpy arrow for don't stand in that path. if your strat is clear, like we had different ways of doing it. We had one strat where we had people go to either the green or purple marker, purple marker, and that was fun. We called either going left or either going right. That worked for us. You know, then we switched later to everyone runs to the yellow marker. That's fine too. So Heartseeker is one of his main abilities. Shred armor, tank debuff. I can't remember how many stacks you tank swapped at, 2 or 3 I would guess, like most things. Fel Corruption, it's something that happens over the entire raid. The longer the fight goes on, you get mind controlled, sort of like Shaw? Yeah, sort of like on Shaw. This is the Shaw style of fight. He does Death Throws, which is a raid-wide ability. He throws lots of green puddles on the raid, positioning them intelligently. And you'll see what I move when I explain the video. He'll spawn a green puddle under you, like right here. You move away from it. New green puddle, move away from it. New green puddle, move away from it. Move every single time. There is no reason to be standing green puddles. They're completely avoidable. They will not just instantly, you know, kill you. There is enough time to easily move out of them, as long as you're not continuing your DPS casts. That's it for that one. Before I go over the main ability, Visions of Death. Bloodthirsters here. These Bloodthirsters, so one initially spawns right away. He'll need to get picked up. He does a frontal attack. Was it Bloodthirsters? Maybe it's the other ones. No, they spawn a Hulking Terror. So the Hulking Terrors are these big berserker dudes. They have a rending howl, which must be interrupted. Tanks, you can easily interrupt this. Melee can be switching onto this to cleave as well. You cleave onto the boss. He does a Fel Claws ability, which gives you more Fel Corruption. There will be better Fel Corruption trackers in a week or as the encounter is released. And does Savage Strikes, which is a conal attack. So, if the boss is tanked by blue, and the other thing is tanked, let's say over here, a purple, which way should it be faced, tanks? Should it be faced towards the melee here? No. Make sure you face it away from the raid. So if I was tanking the big dudes here, the Hulking Terrors, I would face it likely this way, or this way here. So the frontal attack is not attacking the rest of the melee, and the melee can happily cleave on both Kilrogg and the Hulking Terror. They're a pretty high priority target, really the lowest priority target of them all. The other ones that spawn, yeah, the Bloodthirsters, sorry. The Bloodthirsters, they drop down, and you'll see them spawn from either this alcove over here, or maybe over here when they jump out, or these little alcoves. They spawn, and they make a beeline for this pool. These little Bloodthirsters, because they're thirsty for blood. But once they reach the blood, they spawn into a Hulking Terror. Your goal as DPS is to kill them before they reach there. They're a high priority target, like Bloods. If there's a Blood up, kill the Blood. If there's a Bloodthirster up, but there's no blood up, kill the Bloodthirster. If there's a Hulking Terror up, kill that before you get on the boss. For the most part, the melee should be focused on Hulking Terrors and the boss right here. The ranged DPS you should be focused on first, Bloods, then Bloodthirsters. They were slowable, stunnable, I think, I can't recall, or grippable even. I'm pretty sure they were on PTR. You'll see again in the video. Now the last thing, yeah, blood anything is bad. Exactly the reason here. Just kill it right away. Is it select blood from Deathwing last phase? Sort of, yeah, sort of. You bleed out people's blood normally. Very good, Wolfside. Now the last phase is his Visions of Death. Now this is a really fun phase for you DPS and healers, I suppose. Basically, wherever Kilrogg is facing, this is really important, wherever he is facing, he will spawn 3 puddles like this. This is blue, so we're going to spawn 1, 2, 3. 3 puddles like this. These are Visions of Death. There must be a person in Visions of Death every single time, or else they explode for the raid. They're a huge buff, sort of like Nourishin. Because when we're doing the Nourishin phase, you went in there, you know, you did your purification ritual, and you got a huge DPS buff or a healing buff. Exact same thing here. But the purification or your Undying Resolve or your salvation is increased by each enemy you kill inside that realm phase. You'll see it in the video. I'll go through it all when I do it. It does stack up to 20 times, or it did on PTR. There's a max amount of stacks. So for everything that you kill, 10% damage increase, which means 200% more damage. DPS are wetting themselves right now, thinking of 200% more damage. Yeah, it is that awesome. It lasts about 45 seconds, but there is a debuff, so you can't go in the same time every single Visions of Death. There will be a debuff to prevent that. So what do you want to do as a raid? Have multiple teams set up in advance of who's going to go in. The way we did it was I had a melee go right here. I had a healer go in the middle and a ranged DPS go on the outside. So for every single phase, I had, you know, let's say Schomburg here, our red paladin. I had myself go in this one, and let's say a hunter go in this one, like marksman. Clear, simple. That's it. I mean, it's a lot clearer that way. Who's going to go on the inside, middle, and outside one? Don't just, you know, randomly assign 3 people. Okay, you guys go. Assign them a specific spot. Trust me, that's going to wipe you. That confusion. Because when we did this with viewers, it was like, okay, I'll go this way, then we both ran over to red. Okay, well now somebody has to go to purple, we both ran to purple, and then they explode. Assign them. It is on a timer. Be proactive, plan ahead. Some of our raiders did miss their visions of death, and they blew up because they were, you know, off over here somewhere for some reason. So, we'll go through it. Ganner enjoys that buff, of course you do. So let me go through Kilrogg Deadeye next. It's a fun fight. It is fairly fun. And you'll see the inside phase as well, because I did go in.
I just want to make sure it's in both of us.
Okay. So this is Kilrogg right here. That is, what's his face? Ariok Blood. I don't know what his name is. Stupid horde dude.
Set countdown now, please.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, there's Kilrogg, and there's the guy in the middle there. So we did pull the boss over to this side. Now, that being said, if you do pull the boss this far back, and I do want to warn you guys, if you pull the boss where we did, which is roughly here, if the boss is facing this way, you may spawn a Visions of Death over here, under the stairs. This is bad. This will wipe you, because you can't actually get into it if it's up on the stairs. So what do? You turn the boss slightly off to the side, you know, like say this way, so you spawn the Visions of Death right here, and not under the stairs. We had a couple issues on PTR where we were too close to the stairs, and it was a positioning error on our part, but you'll see. Let me load this up again here. Alright. So here we are DPSing. We're actually going to save Heroism.
Our gear is scaled down to 6.
Okay, so we're going to save Heroism because that 200% buff that Ganor, you know, salivates over is important for later on. There's a Hulking Terror. It does spawn at the start of the fight. It gets brought into melee. You cleave it down. High priority target for the melee. On the left side, you see the Bloodthirster spawn. Thirsty for blood. Ranged priority. Kill it. It spawned on the left side first. I think they alternate every single time. Sorry, play.
Purple.
And there you see the red arrow, the Heartseeker. It's on prime time. Prime time communicated. It's on, I'm running to purple. He's going to spawn a Heartseeker over here. So there's 4 things going on at once. You have the big dude. You have the Bloodthirst on the left side. You have the Heartseeker out as well. There, he just got hit. He's going to spawn a blood globule off on the right side there, as well as a puddle. That puddle does damage if you stand in it. Range DPS here, you see Driaz DPSing it down, or Arcane Missiles. Perfect. Range DPS did a great job there DPSing it down. This is Death Rose. So wherever you're standing, that's where you're going to spawn a Death Rose. Whereas should you not be standing as a ranged in melee. Do not stand in melee. You will kill your melee buddies. You don't do it. As a ranged person, don't stand in melee. It will not spawn in melee. Let them continue DPSing whatever they want. At least I'm pretty sure it doesn't spawn in melee. And that's there. Fibrilo, he's going to run off to the right side there. You guys see the arrow? There, he spawned a little bit closer, which means you have less time to kill it before it reaches the boss. Let's check out what happens here. Blood globule spawns. Now it's going to get really close. Some of the melee switch off to kill it. Smart melee, they want to be better safe than sorry. There are the Visions of Death. Let me go back a couple seconds here, sorry.
You can have those blood spawn a little bit closer each time.
Visions of Death is spawning.
So that was good prime.
Okay, Death Rose again. Give me a sec here. Let it load up again. And it is on the timer. You see on the right side there, Visions of Death spawning in about 10 seconds.
Spread out, right? Good.
Okay, Visions of Death. Heartseek on Fibrilo again. And the Visions of Death right after.
Ready to go.
Based on where he's facing.
It's on purple, ranged.
There. 3 green circles. And you'll see our 3 people go in there. I believe it was Brew,
You should have been
Schomburg, and Bren. They get teleported. There, they get teleported, and it moves them. It was who? Fireman, Signatora, and Brew. Okay.
Down there.
So the rest of us are here now. We're down 3 DPS, because they're in the other phase. So while your other DPS are down, you may need to push a little bit harder.
This is green.
Here, a person runs to the left side. They get hit. Again, this is not the ideal strat because the Bloods are so damn close. They're going to kill it quickly here. At the same time, we have a Bloodthirster. At the same time, we have a Hulking Terror. And guess what? We have another Bloodthirster spawning right now, so it gets faster and faster and faster, I believe. Maybe not. But they do keep spawning. So we grip them into it. So Death Knights, feel free to grip this shit in. It's going to make things a lot easier. Brand's running off to the left side there. Or Photon, rather.
S is on the outside, Photon middle.
There's a Blood Globule.
Get on that blood globule, guys. Pay attention.
And I mean, it's fairly tame, except for when there's ads up. Everyone should switch to the, if the blood makes it to melee, otherwise range deal with it while it's at range. Yeah, for sure. Like, if it gets close to melee definitely switch off. What's better? You DPS in a couple seconds on the boss, and then wiping the raid, or you losing some DPS and going to kill the blood? There's visions again spawning. And I know I have a video here of me going in for the visions phase.
Stun the ads in there.
Might be going to the next one, we'll see. So the ads inside, there's imps, there's things that blow up, lots of healing required, lots of personal cooldowns, but blow your shit when you're in the visions phase to blow them up. Countdown begins running left, or sorry, to the right there. Range kill the Bloodthirster, there's a Blood Globule for the range to kill. So, like right now, we're dodging the death rows. At the same time, you still need to be DPSing that Blood Globule, otherwise you will wipe. It is crazy important. Even melee should be switching at this point. That almost reached it. It does a ton of damage, it does heal the boss.
That is your priority.
Bloodthirster, yeah, that's your DPS priority. But it is a fairly fun encounter overall. And you see how much damage Fireman's is doing, for example? He's doing 100,000 DPS right now, because he has 200% buff. So send some of your best DPS in there, they'll get a huge scaling buff. As a healer, you should be running into melee range to cleanse the corruption. I talked about Fel Corruption earlier. It's not super important on normal and heroic, because usually you won't get mind controlled. But as a healer, you'll get a healing increase as well, so 10% for every stack, 200% more healing. Plus, you have an aura around you that reduces corruption. You see corruption going down right now? Everybody's corruption down. Besides Psycho, he's down to 3. There, Fel Corruption has been removed. Perfect. That's exactly what you want to do as a healer. You have the buff, run it in. Death Rose, I think we wiped on this one on purpose.
For like these 3 names, I didn't have to assign.
Damn it, we killed it. Okay. I know I have another attempt here. Sorry guys, let me just scroll back a couple seconds.
Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah, I think it was the first attempt where our hunter DC'd. Okay, let me go at least for the first visions or something. 15 seconds. I want to show you guys the inside phase there and what it looks like. Yeah, this is a lot like Nourishing Max Cubs. You get a purification, get in there, do as much as you can. If you die inside the phase, that's when it ports you out. So get to 20 stacks, then die, or like die, and it'll port you out. Visions of Death.
Go.
There, and melee, get in there.
Let's go.
Okay, so this is what the room looks like. It is a small little room, like the throne area in Stormwind. Myself, Schaumburg, and Marksman went in there. Check out what happens. So we're waiting for the ads to spawn. That was Khadgar or somebody talking, I can't remember who. Here come little imps. The imps do a little bit of damage. I mean, I'm healing a lot here. Like, I was just Flash of Light spamming non-stop. Yeah, big guy spawning as well. These imps do blow up as well, so you need to be careful.
Inside of the vision section here.
There are lots of demons spawning, and on the top right side of my screen, for every demon that we kill, we get a stack. I'm at 11 stacks right now. There, we're doing more, 12, 13 stacks. You just want to AoE cleave the crap out of everything. You see his Divine Storm going off there. Schaumburg's getting really low. We're at 20 stacks now. At this point, we're like, you know what, let's get out of here. It's fine. As soon as one person dies, I believe all 3 of you get ported out. Not that, I mean, you all 3 of you get the same amount of buffs. So here I have the Purification, and I should be running into melee. Come on, run into melee. Run into melee, Sparty. Anyway, I should be running into melee here as a healer to remove everybody's corruption. Not sure what I was doing here, but it was definitely wasn't running into melee. So you see Psycho has 36 corruption, Deadman has 21, Brew 13, and Tally 13. You want to remove their corruption by running in there as a healer. But that's essentially it. That's exactly the fight. So, in the end of it, you should know what your DPS priority is. For DPS, this fight is on you. As a DPS, focus on your priorities. As a ranged, focus on Bloods, then Bloodthirsters. Melee, focus on the big hulking terrors, and if there's blood nearby, or if there's a Bloodthirster will be gripped, grip it in, kill it. That's a priority. Visions, as a raid leader, make sure you set them up in advance. You can go 3 DPS for the first one, and then go healer, DPS for the next one, because you don't need to send a healer for the first one. Honestly, guys, it's not worth it to send a healer for the first Visions, because there's not a lot of fel corruption. So not a huge advantage. Send your DPS in first. And then for the subsequent rounds, send the healer in every single time, because it makes it a lot easier. Perfect. There we go. Okay, so that is Kilrogg in a nutshell. Any questions about this one? Why can't you just have all the blood spawn on one side? What do you mean, Drizak? Why can't you have all the spawns on one side? You mean, okay, in a later attempt, and this is how I did it with my viewers, we had the boss roughly over here, and we had my range DPS, you know, somewhere over here and somewhere over here. The range DPS were on this side, so we were on the opposite side this time. As the ads spawned and they jumped down here, we were able to kill them. And if a ranged DPS or healer was targeted, they would simply run over right here to yellow. So this entire lane was clear, and this is where you drop puddles all around this area. And you just have to watch out. That might be the best strat going forward, where you spawn all the Bloods on one side there, all the Heartseekers. Next question. So should range only go for Bloods, or should melee too? I think it was Ganner that answered that question as well. If they're getting close to melee, you switch off and kill them. They will wipe your raid. That is the one thing that will wipe your raid the most if the Bloods ever reach there. How much damage do they do here? Let me take a look. Where's that Blood? Heartseeker. Yeah, it does 43,000 damage. No, it does Blood Surge. 92,000 damage to the raid based off like one person being in the raid right now. It does like 300,000 to the raid. It's quite a bit of damage. And if you obviously 2 people get hit by a Heartseeker, that is even worse because you now have 2 Bloods to deal with. Your melee would then have to definitely switch off to deal with that mistake. So yeah, for sure. Okay, moving on to the last one. Any more questions about this boss? Otherwise, we're going to move on to Gorefiend. Gorefiend is a fun boss. For those of you that are big Terran Gorefiend fans, there is a lot going on that one. So we'll do Gorefiend as well. I'll take a quick little water break here as well at some point, and we'll do it. Gorefiend, fun ability. So Gorefiend, you guys remember him from Auchindoun. He was the the warlock looking dude. He was the first Shadow Knight, raised by Gul'dan, and now he's a big fat hungry hippo. He's been feasting on a lot of souls. He's a big fat guy, and yeah, he eats a lot. Eats a lot of souls, and the entire fight is based off of souls. Now, a couple abilities here that I want to talk about. There's technically 3 phases that if you want to talk about them. The first phase is the main phase, the main platform that you are on. That's where all the Touch of Dooms, the Shadow of Death, the little things you want to avoid are. The second phase is inside his stomach. If you guys remember being inside Sethun's stomach, most of you are not old enough to have been doing Sethun. There is a stomach phase. In his stomach phase, you want to DPS whatever's around there. A tank will get ported in, a DPS will get ported in, a healer will get ported in. You all have your specific roles inside that stomach phase. Inside that stomach phase, the tank must pick up the big guy. The big guy does a decent amount of damage. Once he's at 70%, he'll get ported out. Once he gets ported out, you should run out with him. As a DPS, you kill the little ghosts. You can help on the big guy a little bit, but you kill the little ghosts that are in there. They will walk towards the middle of the room. If they reach the middle of the room, they get ported out, and the rest of your raid deals with it. As a healer, guess what? There's stuff for you to heal. There'll be little spirit tortured essences. They're little drain eyes. They walk towards the middle of the room, and if they reach the middle, they will teleport onto this side here, and they will throw shadow bolts on your raid. You must heal them to full, or at least heal them to 90%. Let them teleport. Let your range finish them off. So if you, let's say, DPS them down to 50% in the stomach phase, it gets teleported out with 50%. Based off how well you did there. Yeah. Enraged Spirit, there's the Construct, perfect. So that is stomach phase. In the main phase here, there's a ton of abilities. He has 2 main phases. One is a DPS adds phase, the second is his DPS burn phase. The second phase is when you want to use your heroism and burn the boss. The first phase, you deal with adds primarily. Remember what I've been telling you guys all night? If there are adds up, you kill what is deadliest. Thing that's going to wipe you the most, then the boss. If there's no adds up, DPS the boss all you want. That's fine. So, the first thing that happens, Shadow of Death. So Shadow of Death, sorry, one sec. Gathering Darkness. I'm looking for the Shared Fate, Feast of Souls, no. Gorefiend's Corruption. Digest. Okay. Basically, you're able to die technically 2 times on this fight. You will gain a debuff if you do die, and then if you get chosen for a Shadow of Death. So this ability here kills you. This will kill you. It'll target 5 random people and kill you. And by kill you, it puts you into a stomach. It'll put your soul into the stomach. If you have a red head, you don't have a soul. But it'll put you into the stomach where you deal with the stomach abilities. And it will not pull you in later on. It'll pull other people in the raid throughout the rest of the fight. That ability, completely unavoidable. You will get pulled into the stomach at some point. Touch of Doom. Now, this ability is important. If Touch of Doom is on you, it spawns a Doom Well, or like a little Shadow Void Zone on the ground. Where should you spawn Shadow Void Zones? Dexter, can you answer? Is Dexter still around? Where should you spawn Void Zones? Off to the side of the room here. You want to use the sides wherever possible, because it does do a ton of damage, and it explodes for 100,000 after 8 seconds. So put them over here. Next ability here is Shared Fate. Now, this Shared Fate, if you guys remember Blood Queen Lanethel, there were these beams coming out, and the only way to get rid of the beams was to collapse them in. Same ability, except with one little twist. One person is rooted. One random person of the 3 is rooted. The other 2 people have to run to that person in order to break the Shared Fate. That's the only way to get rid of it. And if you don't do this within 10 seconds, like if you're really slow or an LFR, like they have no idea what they're doing, I think it was actually removed in LFR. After 10 seconds, if it takes you too long, you guys blow up and you die. Right in melee. Thank you, Kev. In the middle of the room, I swear to God. What else here? The other ability here is Surging Shadows. Make sure you're spread out. It is a spread fight for this entire phase. Don't be stacked in. Like, don't be next to each other. Be 5 yards out. That's 5 yards out. Be spread out. What else here? We have Crushing Darkness, which... Crushing Darkness is a really cool ability. Think of it as a domino effect. Basically, it spawns sort of like in a circle, like a little spiral like this, and it's going to pop. Like, it goes into a big spiral, bigger, 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 and it'll pop in a domino row, so it'll pop like this. You know, in this order like this, and as you get larger, it keeps popping, popping, popping. So, it gives you plenty of time to run away from these abilities. Now, in the last phase here, what else did I miss here? Unleash Souls, yeah, so there's these ads that come out. Prioritize these ads. Your main priority, in terms of DPS, is the Gorebound Spirit. It has a Bellowing Shout that will increase physical damage for, it'll get your tanks wrecked, basically. Kill these Gorebound Spirits right away once it gets teleported into the main realm here. We had our tank right around here. The other thing was tanked right around here as well. Melee can switch to it, all raid DPS switch to it right away. There's a tank debuff, the ability stacks, your tanks will get wrecked, and make sure you do interrupt. The next important ability is the important to kill, is the Essences. They are throwing Shadow Bolt volleys on your entire raid. Range DPS, that is your main priority kill target if the Gorebound Spirit is not up. Gorebound Constructs, they're like little skeleton dudes. They walk really slowly, like the RP walk over to you, and if they reach you, you pretty much die. Like you basically blow up everybody near you. They're super easy to dodge. They're fairly slow moving. There's a big purple beam from where the skeleton is to where you are. Run away from it. DPS kill it. That's your priority as well. If there's no essences up and there's no spirits up, you are killing constructs. Constructs are the skeletons. They will eat you for 3 million life and kill anybody near you. They're a high priority target as well. Does Life Grip work on the rooted person? We didn't test it. It's a good question. Did anybody test if Life Grip worked? We never even tried it. We just did the mechanic right. We just ran it in. But I suppose Life Grip is an interesting idea. Maybe somebody can correct it. So, that's pretty much it. We're going to go through the entire fight, and I'll show you guys Phase 2. Phase 2 is really easy. Phase 2 is your main burn phase, and there's something for the tanks to do to pick up souls. I'll show you as I go here for Gorefiend. Here we go. This is...
That is one attempt.
Gorefiend. He's a really cool-looking boss, like Prince Therazane or whatever, the big fat...
Later on, have people spend their own
There we
time.
go. Okay, let's see.
It's like, what are you telling off to the big ad? With dead men? What's the...
So our tanks are still talking. Okay, here we go. So we've pulled. So let me go back a few seconds. Okay, so let it count it down here. You'll see exactly what happens. Shadow of Death happens as well. Tally's getting ready here. Rebuff.
Prepare if you need to. There's jeeps in the back.
Oh my my god, I think
Try
somebody went
again,
AFK.
and let's hopefully I have a soul this time.
Okay, yeah, so this encounter was a little bit buggy for Paladins. Paladins technically didn't have souls. We were not able to get ported into the stomach. I did have it work a couple times. You'll see the stomach portion of this fight as well.
I'm pulling in 5,
Here we go.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, we've pulled, so again, save Heroism. You don't want to use it during the start here. So Shadow of Death hit 4 people there, fair below Midnight, Firemancer, and Brew, 4 DPS. Little Ghosts, you see them get ported into the stomach, and you see them fade away. You see here we are spread out as well. Again, watch your range checks. If you're too close, it does splash damage.
5 yards. Mooney Surge, prime time.
People are too close still. Now, the only issue with the radar here, for those of you that see that, you see how the blue marker is next to me, but there's no person next to me over here. It actually tracks people underneath you, which are in the stomach zone. So the range radar is not fully indicative. You will have to use your eyes and not just your range radar. There, you see the domino ability, which sort of is popping across the middle of the screen. It's going clockwise right now. It'll always go clockwise every single time. It's going to pop right across the melee, and at the same time we have shared fate. So watch what happens. So it's popping like that all around.
Closer, closer, closer.
Then I'm yelling for them to run closer because they still had a beam on them the entire time.
Took too long.
So we can get, yeah, there's the domino effect again. It's going all the way around the circle. I guess maybe it does go counterclockwise. Never mind. Ignore what I said earlier. 4 more people got ported in. Natoro, Adelise, and Ariana.
Shouldn't be dying in their Panzer.
Now, we had a spirit spawn. All the DPS should switch to the spirit. You see some of the DPS switching. There's a construct up as well. Domino effect is still spawning again. And let's see what happens. He's there. You see the big purple beam? It's going from... I can't remember who. But it's basically going from the construct to whoever is targeted there. I don't have the debuff on my screen here. At the same time, you have those big spirits to kill, which are your main priority target. You have these domino abilities to dodge. And at the same time, there is shared fate. So people have to run together. So that one's on Driaz. Yeah, it's going to her. She's DPSing.
Melee should be on the spirit.
There we go. Range finish off the construct. And then everyone else is on the spirit. There's domino effect, so you dodge it. You know exactly where it's going to spawn.
Abilities, watch range checks again.
And you see often the sides there, the purple puddles, that's where people are dropping off Touch of Dooms. That is the good spot for them. There, Photon, he's clearly, like, he's bugged. He's not able to get in there. Because Paladins were really buggy. Touch of Doom's on me. Guess where I'm going to run it? Not where Dexter told me to run it. I'm going to run it to the outside. This is where you could use your blink to speed of lights and run out. There's a ghost. Look how slowly it walks.
Right there.
It walks slowly towards you. Run away from it.
This isn't boss DPS phase. Just kill ads
And I'm telling my raid here, this is the ad killing phase, not the boss DPS phase. Guys, boss DPS does not matter at all during this phase. Don't worry about it. Focus on ads. Ads will wipe you. The boss will not. There's an essence, doing lots of Shadow Bolt volleys. They're the main priority target. Even as a melee, feel free to switch off to the ads. More Touch of Doom is being run out there, good. More constructs spawning. Now, of course, if you're inside the stomach phase, you don't want, like, if you're doing a really good job, fewer ads will spawn up top, which is great, which allows people to DPS the boss more. So if you do a really good job inside the stomach phase, it'll make it a lot easier. Hopefully I get ported in here. Okay, this is phase 2. So this coming up is your DPS phase. What do? Clean up any ads first. Any ads should be cleaned up, and then you're going to run into melee, stacking for heals, because you're taking raid-wide damage whenever these ghosts take damage, or get picked up.
Essence on the right side. Alright, tanks go soak the souls.
So, one thing we didn't do well enough on this attempt was we should have all stood in melee, so everybody gets healed. On the left side there, in the middle of the screen, you see a little ghost going towards the raid. Those need to be intercepted by the tank every single time, otherwise Gorefiend eats the souls and regenerates his soul stuff a lot better. So you'll see them fly around. You see the tank running around there off in the middle of nowhere. They're trying to soak the souls that are coming back to Gorefiend. Hopefully you see some more here. Try to... Hopefully my camera angle is good for it. Yeah, tanks are running off to soak them. Come on, where's a ghost?
Far left.
Okay, my camera's not... I think in the next phase.
Just do too much mana with my goddamn...
Okay, and the Feast Souls ends, and now the boss is down to 50%. So that is your DPS burn phase. We'll keep going here. Hopefully it'll show you the stomach phase portion as well. You get a domino effect, Touch of Dooms, so the longer this fight goes on, the more Touch of Dooms. That is sort of a soft enrage. It should not be an issue. Just don't put Touch of Dooms in a bad spot. So Shared Fate is on prime time. The other person's off to the side there. Who was that on? That was on Potatosaurus. He was off too far, then you have to run in there. It's probably Killing Spree. So again, one person is rooted, and then, in that case, we weren't able to grip him. Okay, hopefully Shadow Death spawns on me at some point here, so I can show you guys the ability. Touch of Dooms always run them out. Random people get hit by the Ghost or their Shared Fate on Sparty. These guys have to run towards me. One guy is running away. Syrian over there. And then you have to move away because those dominoes will spawn on you. Always assume that you will get targeted by that stupid domino spiral. If Shared Fate is on you, you have to collapse immediately, then go back to what you were doing, which is killing ads. But stay alive first. So here we are killing the Gorebound Spirit again. There is a construct, and that construct killed Ganor. Ganor just stood there, and he killed Firemancer himself.
Firemancer with you.
Yeah. And yeah, Ganor just stood there DPSing, and again, the contracts reach you, you die. They should have DPSed that first. And there you see somebody else running away. There, and it died. Okay, hopefully Shadow of Death picks me soon. Because I'll show you guys the inside stomach phase. Poor Ganor. Poor Ganor. I think this was one of our wipes, I can't remember. Go for a couple seconds here.
Yeah.
Feast of Souls number 2.
Go and wipe it, please. Jump in the void zone, so do it again.
Okay, yes, we had another attempt here. Let me show you the next attempt. I think I got into the Souls phase during the next one.
As long as you can.
Touch of Dooms again. Touch of Dooms, make sure you blink them out. Here we go. Okay, so this is the stomach phase. This is what it looks like. There on the left side you see a shadowy construct. DPS kill those constructs. Here I am looking around. There's a shadowy construct. I'm looking for a healing ad. The healing ad's on the opposite side there. I want to throw as much heals as I can on her. There. So she got teleported in, but she had less HP. Then another one spawns. This is where you blow your instants, your cooldowns, your fast heals.
Yeah, the one that was on top of
She got teleported. No, she cleansed herself there. I mean, you can stun these ads as well, I'm pretty sure. There's another one. Lay Hands does not work on these ads, by the way. So you see a lot. Like, they're going to get through eventually, and that's fine. It's not that you're doing a bad job. That one there I cleansed. She disappeared. There's another one there. Now, check this out. You see how my screen starts going green? Sparty, why can't you stand in there the entire time and just, That's a disgusting picture. It looks like a butthole on the top right side, that mini-map. Why can't you stay in the butthole the entire time, or the stomach? Well, there is a 40-second timer. You can only stay a maximum of 40 seconds inside the stomach. Maximum 40 seconds. So if you stay out in the stomach too long, you die. Panzer did that the very first attempt. And this middle section right here, to the right of myself, is where you get out. You just run through it. So my screen goes right, I go into the middle, I get ported out. And I have a debuff for 2 minutes. Gorefiend's Corruption, your next death will be your last.
Soul, I'm not a ginger after all.
There, yeah, I did have a soul. So it was a little buggy for Paladins. Paladins weren't able to go in, but luckily I was able to show you guys that section.
I can AMS and run all the way into the corner without taking damage.
So we'll fast forward a little bit more here. There's the Feast of Souls portion.
For executes.
Let me go back a couple seconds here.
Side.
Okay, so we're about to go into Feast of Souls phase. Here's Feast of Souls. We're going to finish up any ads. We're all going to stand in melee really quickly, finish off the ads, and hopefully I'll have a better camera angle to show you guys where those ghosts are coming from. Pretty sure I did. Yeah, throw a barrier down. Now you only really take big damage when the souls are being soaked. There, you see one.
I guess we could wait a little bit.
You see one on the left side and the top of my screen right now. Left side by the stampeding bars. You'll see tanks run off to go get them. There, you see Psycho run off to get that one. Raid takes damage. See Deadman get off to get that one. Raid takes damage. So just be aware as a healer when they're going to take damage from those souls. And yeah, this is the DPS burn phase. This is likely where you would heroism because of execute. It should only really take you 2 phases to kill the boss. You will not kill it in 1 phase. You are not going to go from add phase to burn phase and kill him. It'll go add phase, burn phase, burn phase, and kill him in that. Likely you may want to hero in the last phase because you may have cooldowns up again for it and your executes as well, especially in the higher difficulties. I would not use heroism during the first phase or on the pull. I don't see that as being advantageous. There's a spirit link, and then we kill the boss. But it is a fun boss, and you see how much of the room is covered right now by Touch of Dooms, and we did a pretty good job with them. There are no Touch of Dooms off in a bad spot right now. They're all in a fairly good spot. So,
Bush, I think that's
I
the way
mean, just
to
for DPS, for executes.
yeah. So Marksman's talking about using
I could have waited a little bit.
heroism on the later section.
Yeah, I think it would have been fine.
Cool, but it is a really fun boss. It is, new mechanics. A lot of it is just recycled mechanics. At this one, we didn't kill him, so you know what? Just burn the boss. Last 4 million life. It's totally fine.
I like that fight. It's a good fight.
Yeah, and Ariana makes a good point here. Phase 1 is a lot of ads coming out from the stomach, but isn't bad if the stomach teams are on point with DPS. That being said, you will not clear up all the ads. There will always be ads coming out. The spirit will always come out every single time. That big-ass brute that the tank has to deal with, that'll always come out. But yeah, in general, it's a pretty fun fight. A lot of, new mechanics, recycled mechanics, but something like Shared Fate, which is like Blood Queen Lanathel's beam phase, it's fun because now there's a person rooted, or it's more infuriating. A lot more things to think about. Again, the whole key to this entire expansion for raiding is being in the right friggin' position. That's what matters. Be proactive. Assume those abilities will land on you every single friggin' time. Okay. So we have 3 bosses to go left, or 3 bosses remaining here. Give me a sec. I'm going to run back up and teleport myself and show you guys the last 3 bosses. Now, here's the really cool thing about this instance. It gets way more fun the further you get into it. I told you guys at the start, Hellfire, really shitty fight, really boring. The further you get into the bosses, the way more fun you're going to have. I guarantee it, for the most part. The next wing that I'm going to show you, as I get it prepped here, is a ton of fun. Let me set these up. Shuttle of Iskar. Give me a sec here. I'm just going to go run to the port and port myself up as I set it up. Shadow Lord Iskar is a really fun encounter. It is a hot potato encounter. 5147. Let's see here. Yeah, it is a really fun encounter. There is quite a bit going on, but if you have a really strong raid leader or healer, they will carry the entire raid. If you have, a really great shaman, they will be a great person to carry the entire raid and organize what's going on. Sorry, I had questions here from Gorefiend. What's the time between each Feast of Souls? I believe it was 2 minutes, something like that, or 1:40. All healers' dispels work on removing the ads in sets party. Didn't know that. Leon2137 asked, dispels? I don't think so. It's straight heals. As far as I know, it is straight heals. That will be the only thing that stops the essences from coming up top. And Kevkev asks, are there that many ads? Yes. And again, this whole thing will be highlighted. I can show you guys my highlights of the other stuff. It'll all be on YouTube. Yeah, I can export all the videos and show you guys exactly what's going on. Nexus of Souls for Shadow Lord Iskar here. Hey there, 120 hearts. Hello, those of you